The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another high episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. I got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. Somewhat here. He here.
Man, technical difficulties over here, my boy.
Who we gotta thank? Is it who is your internet provider?
Man, Xfinity over here cutting up bad, bro. Nah, we finna talk about him tonight. I'm sick of these people, man. It's the third day I done been dealing with internet trouble, dog. I'm sick of them.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. We got a good one tonight, man. We've got two special guests. Definitely look forward to having these conversations. And then we got a returning guest. He's gonna give us his breakdown of LSU basketball. So we're gonna get to that. But man, I ain't gonna even hold y'all up, man. Y'all know what it is. It's BAMA HATE week. But y'all know what we gotta do. We gotta give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We'll be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, we're back and we got our first guest in the building, the head man over at Washington High School, Coach Terrance Cahee. Welcome to Golden Boot. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Doing well, man. How you guys doing? Appreciate y'all.
Oh, and I'm sorry. I forgot, Ant, you get your tip. Here we go.
Doing good tonight, Coach. How you doing?
My bad, Ant. I forgot you was yeah, bro. He's down. Coach, thank you for joining us. As I said, kind of prior to the show, I've heard, I'm not from Louisiana, but I've heard some great things about Wasserman. It's usually on the basketball side, though. But I've been hearing great things about this football season so far. First of all, tell us about yourself, and then we can, kind of get into the team.
So this is my second year here at Wasserman. I'm originally from down south, Westlake, Louisiana, right outside of Lake Charles. Moved up here, of course, 2 years ago now, to try to take over a program who was right there on the brink, of what we thought could be great,
Appreciate you for joining us, Coach, and glad a mutual friend of ours could link us together. But you was a DB in college, and Wiseman is known for their defense this year. slowing Calvary Baptist down when other teams couldn't stand a chance with that offense. What has it been like for you to kind of instill that defensive mindset on your team?
Man, my coaches do a great job. I have some great people that work underneath me. Our defensive coordinator, our DB coach. Those guys, they're hard-hat and pill guys. They come to work every day. So ultimately, I want to give them the credit. And then our kids just perform, man. They bought into the system, bought into our mantra, playing hard, playing physical, from whistle to whistle. And, they're reaping some of the benefits.
And on offense, you got some playmakers over there, especially at receiver. And you brought some basketball guys out there on the football field. How did you convince them guys to come out, and what is it like having dual sport athletes playing for you?
Man, I mean, y'all been around long enough, kind of kids sell each other, So I think once I got in the building, once we got in the building, and the kids who are here were able to see kind of how we work, how we care about them, how we love on them, but also how we go get on their butt too. They were able to kind of tell some of these other kids about us and what they thought about us. And then, that made those conversations a lot easier. Trey Mason, who I think is arguably one of the better basketball players in the whole state, is out here playing receiver. Zion Weeks, who's another kid who's a top 10 kid in the state, out here playing. And then, we have other guys who are in the rotation, for us who, we play in the state championship or for a state championship year in and year out. So just happy to have those guys aboard and believe in what we're doing, on the football field.
All right, Coach. So
no doubt,
from what I've been hearing,
you got a big one coming up tomorrow night, Coach.
Yeah. We're about 23 hours away.
Yeah, I know it's a big. I know I saw your players posting about remembering last year and things like that. How much does last year play a factor into this year's game?
Man, I just think, similar to last week, man, Sterlington for us, we thought was a winnable game. We played really well in two phases of the game, offensively and defensively, but special teams had a muff punt, had another player run into a ball on punt, and it would end up being a 2-score game. So we shot ourselves in the foot. And, it's been one that we've been waiting on for 365 days. It just so happens to be, for all the marbles this time. But, just excited to be able to play against another quality team, man.
All right, Coach. So one thing I noticed about your team, when, as I started doing a little research, was more impressive what they were doing off the field, being more involved in the community and stuff. Can you talk about that?
Man, it's been something that's been big with me my whole life. I'm a server, man. I'm a servant. And I just want to instill that in our kids. Just giving back, man. Just being beacons of the community. For some of these little kids, they look up to those guys. For some of our guys, this is the only structure they have. This is, something that they lean on. So I think for our guys to get out in the community, just this week we did a trunk or treat at the school. Heck, last week we went to the junior high elementary, did fall festival with them. Man, I want the kids to get out and see, or these young men to get out and see that it's more than just them. It's bigger than just football, and these kids, y'all know, man, that they're doing a lot of things that we weren't doing. They're moving a lot faster. They're in the streets a lot. So the longer we can keep them around us and the more we can pour into them about being good men and good, I guess, beacons of light, it's kind of what we strive for, man.
Oh, I don't know if he cut out. Okay. The internet has been giving him troubles all week. But Coach, so talked about big game and stuff tomorrow. How do you keep your players kind of, I guess, focused on what's coming up and kind of keep their head straight, you know what I'm saying, and away from, because I mean, this week is a lot of distractions, especially with Halloween and a lot of chances to get in trouble. So how do you keep your players focused?
Man, we just kind of, we keep reiterating, keeping the main thing, man, and the task at hand, and we try to go 1-0 every week. That's what we talk about. That's what we preach to the guys, man. So, I think that it's starting to resonate with them, and they're starting to understand the importance of each week, not just this week. This is the biggest game of the season because of the next game. Not because it's for a district title, not because it's Sterlington. We talk about going 1-0 every week. So I think that the kids are starting to learn. They're starting to understand. They're starting to take ownership themselves and holding each other accountable.
All right, and I think we got you back with us.
Yeah, I'm barely here.
All right, go ahead. It's on you, Ant.
I'm barely here, man. But Coach, how come everybody watching the show, how can we tune in tomorrow night to watch y'all take on Sterlington?
Wasman High School has a Facebook page where we live stream most of our games, but definitely every home game. It's high quality. They do a great job. It's instant replays, the whole nine. So, a lot of people who aren't here, they kind of mirror it to their TV or whatever, and they watch it just like they're watching ESPN and anything else. So definitely it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one.
No doubt, Coach. Well, best of luck to you and your squad tomorrow night. I'll be tuning in. And go ahead and bring that district title back to the Dub.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank y'all guys, man.
All right, thank you, Coach. I
Appreciate
see you
you, Coach.
watching film. I hate we interrupted you.
It's all good, man. Thank y'all. Nothing bigger than the Dub, man.
All right, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was head coach Terrance Cahee from Wasman High School. Glad he could join us and tune in. Man.
Bro. I'm going to fight the Xfinity man when he come fix my Wi-Fi.
I know that's real. But man, let's go ahead and get this next before we get to the topic that everybody want to talk about. We got to talk about Alabama. I mean, not Alabama. We're gonna talk about Alabama, but we won't talk bad about it. Anyway, we got to talk about LSU basketball real quick. We had a special reporter because we were actually live on show, so we had a special reporter that watched the game, and he said he's gonna come talk about the game. So here you go, Dylan, take it away. Tell us about. We know it was a LSU victory, 132-44. Tell us what you enjoyed about the game.
I enjoyed about how in the first half, like they were up by like something, but it was like 66 to something in the first half.
I like it. What the defense look like?
They were good. They blocked it. They blocked a lot of layups.
Okay. And make a lot of threes?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a good team this year, deal?
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited, man. You excited?
Yes.
You don't sound too excited, man. Put some excitement in your voice, man.
All right.
Thanks for your breakdown, man. Good job.
You're welcome.
All right. Appreciate it. He was talking about the game all yesterday. He was just telling me all about the game. Oh man, hey Dad, they won 144-32. It was this. So I thought he was gonna talk more than that. He came in being shy. But man, we know what y'all here for. It ain't basketball. I mean, it's basketball. Actually, basketball starts Monday, right? November 6th?
Yes, sir. On the 6th.
Men and women both play on Monday. Women play, if I'm not mistaken, Colorado and Nevada in a tournament. The men play at home, if I'm not mistaken.
So they playing Dion's daughter?
I don't know how to respond to that.
I'm being for real.
Yeah,
ain't she on the team in Colorado?
yeah, I mean, I know she on the team. I don't know how to respond to that. But yeah, she'll be out there, I guess. I don't know how that's gonna look. It's gonna be interesting. I'll be tuning in.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Well, never mind. That's that'll be getting petty. I ain't gonna even go there. I'm gonna ask you who you gonna watch. What you gonna watch first? But we ain't gonna go there. But man, listen, we've been talking about this game. I know for the last 2 weeks, people have been breaking it down, trying to analyze it, figure out who gonna do what's gonna happen. I guess stepped away. Wait for him. Oh, there you go. All right. Oh, you good? You good? You need a little time? Oh, you good? All right. Listen, we've been talking about this game for, like I said, at least breaking it down for the last 2 weeks. Not just us. I'm talking about everybody. LSU fan, Bama fans. People keep asking me, how do I feel about the game? And my response is, I have talked so much trash about this game, I'm now nervous.
Oh yeah,
I am
You've
nervous.
Been talking noise.
I've talked some good old.
Let me ask you this. Before we bring that guest on, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Does the fact that the way you talked about the Magic City Classic and how that fared out,
Don't do
does
this.
that have any like semblance to why you so nervous about this game?
That might be part of the reason why, because I don't think I was wrong in my evaluation of the Magic City Classic.
I don't either.
But how it played out,
hey, you got to play it. You got to play the game on the field.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Very interesting. But man, let's go and get our guest on. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all about this guest. We'll talk about it when I bring him on. Let me tell you. But here we go. Coming up from WVUA's Mr. Kenneth Kelly II. He is the founder of Legends Sports Media. He is a student at Alabama. He's got a very interesting story too. Y'all don't hold that against him that he's a student at Alabama. You know, sometimes you can't pick some stuff. But welcome to the Golden Boot, Ken.
But he picked up though.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Super excited to be on the show.
Yeah. So I remember, if I'm not mistaken, it was probably a year ago around this time that I saw like your tweets and stuff, saw your report, and I think I sent you a message like, "Hey, I would love to have you on to talk, Alabama, sports." And at the time, I was thinking basketball season is coming up, baseball. We can kind of talk. But I'm
right.
Be honest with you. When we saw LSU, how LSU looked in basketball, we were not going to talk anything about basketball last year. But man, tell us, thank you for joining us. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so again, like you said, I'm Kenneth Kelly. I'm a junior at the University of Alabama. I'm studying sports broadcasting, and also I'm on the path to get my master's in business administration as well. But I grew up absolutely loving sports, and in middle school and high school, I was very involved in my theater program at my high school. So I was doing productions, plays, and when I was looking at a future career, I knew that I really wanted to kind of mesh both of my love for performance and public speaking, also my love for sports as well. And so that's kind of how the whole sports broadcasting thing came about. And during the end of my freshman year, I started working at WVUA, a TV station we have located here on our campus. So I'm able to cover all UA athletics, some local high school sports as well. And it's been really a great experience. Not only am I able to get behind the scenes work, but also on camera work as well. So it's just been, like I said, super great experience. And again, this has really helped me build not myself in just the journalism aspect, but also being able to reach out and connect with folks like the Golden Boot podcast. And like I said, super glad that I'm able to be on here and join the show.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask this because I got to set the stage. Have you always been an Alabama fan?
Yeah, so I remember we talked about this before the show.
Yeah.
But no, I have not always been an Alabama fan. So a little bit of background on me is I grew up originally from McDonough, Georgia. So it's about 20 minutes south of downtown Atlanta. But I grew up as an Auburn fan, super big Auburn fan. Like I was War Eagle to the day I die, bled orange and blue, the whole thing. So my dad, aunt, uncle, cousins, a lot of the Kelly family, they were all graduates from Auburn. So when I was a kid, I was hanging out on their campus, wearing the football jerseys, cheering on the Auburn Tigers. And that was pretty much a really big part of my background. And going into really when it came down to choosing a college, it has a little bit of a funny story. So basically, during the second semester of my senior year, super long college list. I know I wanted to keep my options open, wanted to go to the best place that would provide me for the best opportunity. And I was able to narrow down my school list between Auburn, Alabama, and LSU. And I tell the story pretty much all the time that basically Alabama, they were just kind of throwing in on the list, just say, hey, let me just apply. Let me see what can happen here.
Right.
And I was really considering LSU and Auburn as like really the two schools I was really looking at. And during the February of 2021, which I know some of you all probably remember, winter storms came through the Southeast, knocked out a whole lot of people's power. And during that weekend, I was scheduled a tour to go to Auburn first, Alabama next, and then LSU. So me and my family were going to do a whole round trip around during that part of the country. And in the middle of my tour at Auburn, Alabama and LSU called me. We were actually stopped at a McDonald's grabbing some lunch. And they called us. They said, hey, we're closing down our campus because safety reasons for the weather. Hopefully you can come back again soon. And so when that happened, I just kind of said to myself, that's just a sign. Just go to Auburn, keep it in the family, not make anything too difficult. And I was really kind of delaying that decision and really choosing Auburn. And when that happened, I just said, okay, that's just a sign. Just keep it in the family, go to Auburn and not make anything too complicated. And so about 2 weeks later, after I had already kind of made my decision, I was going to Auburn. Essentially, basically, my dad came back to me. He said, hey, the folks at Alabama, they just called again. They reached out. They said, hey, we really want to get you on campus for your tour from earlier this year. Is that something that you're interested in? And I was really on the fence about it. Like I said, I was super settled on Auburn. I found a roommate who I was going to live with during my freshman year on campus and everything. And so basically what ended up happening was I really kind of felt like it was kind of steering me in direction and just telling me, hey, just look at Alabama. You never know what can happen when you go on the campus. And during March of that year, so just a few weeks after that, I went on Alabama's campus, fell in love with the University of Alabama. I was able to tour the TV station that we have on our campus, and I was able to see how I was able to get experience in the broadcasting and journalism world as a college student, which I wouldn't be able to get pretty much anywhere else in the world. As Alabama, we're actually one of the only two schools in the country that have our only publicly televised commercial station on our campus. And so, like I said, I wouldn't be able to get that experience anywhere else. A lot of administrators and faculty that I met with, they were able to really pour into me, and I would see how they were wanting to me to grow and be successful and succeed on campus. And so after that happened, I was still on the edge, but I was like, wow, Alabama, they really opened up the book. They offered me more scholarship money. They showed me this, and this on their campus. I was like, wow, like Alabama really may be the home for me. And so then probably a week later, I get back home. I get some mailing and packages from Auburn, and Auburn actually misspelled my name 2 times. And so when that happened, I just
said, do you misspell Kenneth?
Yeah, I know. So they spelled my last name Kelley, and then the second time they misspelled it, they called me Kenneth Kelly Jr. and I'm Kenneth Kelly II. So it was after that happened, I just said, what, I'm made my decision. I'm going to Alabama, and I pretty much have loved it ever since.
I told you my Auburn story and why I almost ended up at Auburn, but
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that's not wow. Our man Dave says, when you was a kid, man, you is supposed to be, man, you still look like a kid. So I'm sure you get that a lot.
I get that a lot. I do get that a lot. I am still 20 years old, so I know I'm still pretty young on me, but yeah, I do get that. I look pretty young for my age.
You definitely do, man. So what's it been like covering sports for Alabama? Y'all had, pretty successful football team, basketball team been pretty successful. What's it been like, since you've been on campus, being able to cover the athletic department?
It's honestly been really amazing. That's really the best way I can put it. Like, and of course, there's been so many different things surrounding UA athletics over the past 2 years, with Alabama being in the national championship my freshman year, and then us going to the Sugar Bowl last year. And then, of course, with basketball, winning the SEC championship, going to the Sweet 16. So, and of course, on top of that, softball going to the Women's College World Series, gymnastics doing really well. So, like, there's been UA athletics in total has been doing so well since I've been here. And me being able to be in the same room and go to press conferences as Nick Saban and Nate Oates and ask questions to different like type of athletes and build that relationship has been really, like I said, nothing short of amazing. And like I said, Alabama's probably one of the biggest name brands in athletics in the entire country. So being able to have this experience now that I'm still a student in college is something that I know is going to really put me above the pedestal and ahead of other competition at other places and at other schools.
All right. Now I got a cousin who chimed in. Well, he was my cousin. We're not cousins this week. You see what he say.
Oh yes, sir. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Hey, that's 1-1. No, I'm just playing. I'm just messing with you. I'm gonna ask this, and then we can break down the game. So you've been in Tuscaloosa for the third year, right?
Yes, sir. Junior year.
All right. Have you had a chance to be around a Magic City Classic?
I have not. No, I have not. It's on my bucket list though. Okay. It is on my bucket list to do for sure.
I can't ask it. I can't ask the question. I basically I was going to ask because I know you've done Iron Bowl. And people talk about Iron Bowl, you know, big game and stuff. By far, it probably is one of the largest rivalries in the South. But I always tell people the Magic City Classic is the biggest game in the state just because of how long it lasts. You know, it starts like that Sunday prior to the game and goes on.
Yeah.
But let's get into this game. The season so far is funny because on an Alabama scale, this is probably a down season. But Alabama's only lost one game and is still in the hunt for the college football playoff, still in the hunt for SEC title. So I guess my question, what was the feel on campus, I guess, coming into this season?
So really the feel on campus was, especially after last season, a lot of folks really felt like we deserved that fourth spot in the college football playoff. And so knowing that probably one of the greatest Alabama quarterback ever, Bryce Young, he was leaving. And then one of the greatest Alabama defensive players ever, Will Anderson, he was leaving. So we were going to lose a lot of talent. Both of our coordinators were gone. So, you know, of course, Alabama, we still had high expectations of the team to do well this year. But for where we are right now, I don't think anybody truly expected us to be in the spot that we are in right now, especially the rocky starts of the season with Texas and Milroe. He was playing a little shaky during that game. And then the South Florida game, which I was able to attend, that was probably the worst football game under Nick Saban, probably since Louisiana Monroe. Like, it was absolutely awful. That game was absolutely terrible. And so when that happened, it was really just like, oh, dang, well, we're just going to have to start rebuilding for next year. And some fans were really already giving up on the season when it really just started. And I think truly the turning point this year was that win against Ole Miss. It was the week after USF. Ole Miss, they were coming off super hot. And we knew that this game against Ole Miss would determine really the rest of the season. And we ended up getting the win over Ole Miss, held Kiffin offense to only one touchdown. And week by week, you can really tell the progression, not only of the younger guys, especially the younger offensive line that has been playing this season, but also like Jalen Milroe's progression has been so great over the past few weeks from what I've seen. Like earlier especially in that Texas game, you could tell he was kind of a little bit in his nerves. He would look at one read, kind of bail out, or, you know, the offensive line, they were letting defenders get by. But you kind of have seen, especially Tommy Rees with the offensive coordinator, he's really settled in. Milroe's kind of settled in, got his confidence and everything, especially right after that South Florida game when he didn't play. And going back to Ole Miss, he had a pretty good game during that game. But basically, I think, like I said at the start, I think nobody truly expected us to be in the position that we're in right now. But, you know, people consider this a down year for Alabama, but we're still in the hunt for the SEC West and also the college football playoff. So even no matter what year it is, Alabama, regardless of even what's going on, they're probably always has the potential to compete for the playoff, SEC championship, and even a national title, just because of who's holding that title of head coach, Nick Saban. So that's kind of where the air has been, especially around campus earlier this year. But I think a lot of people have been really excited, especially after the back-to-back wins over A&M and Tennessee. I think a lot of people are really looking forward and have a lot of really high praise for what could possibly come out of this season.
Yeah, a lot of talk has been made of and the passing game and the progress that's been made there, but the defense has been making some strides also. If you look at the Texas game and the way that they were able to kind of, move the ball and score some points on their defense, then you mentioned going into the Ole Miss game, holding them to only one touchdown offensively. Kind of talk about what you've seen from defense and maybe some of the leaders on the defense and how they've been able to make their improvements.
So, and one of my biggest takeaways. Oh, sorry about that. But one of my biggest takeaways I said is the defense has truly been a championship caliber defense and has put us in a position to win many games that we otherwise probably should not have won. So even if you look at the stats right now, we're 17th in the nation in yards allowed per game, just giving up a little over 300, 16th in the nation in points allowed per game, a little over 16, which I'm pretty sure nowadays anybody would take giving up 16 points at any point in time, especially during this generation of offensive styles. And we're also 16th in the nation in tackles for a loss at 57 in total, which is around 7 per game. So this defense has been absolutely fantastic over the past few weeks. I know Arkansas was a little rocky and shaky during that second half, but overall shutting out Tennessee in the second half and also holding Kiffin to a touchdown. We even held Texas to only having, I believe it was 9 or 13 points until early in the fourth quarter. That's when they went on there, really pulled away, scored those 3 touchdowns toward the end of the game. But this defense has set us up to be in position to truly be undefeated right now and also be a championship caliber team. And the guys on defense, especially the young stars like Caleb Downs, who's a guy from Georgia, he's absolutely balled out this year, especially stepping into that role as being not only taking on that safety position and starring as a freshman, but also being a leader on the team and recognizing coverages and shifting around teammates is something that I've noticed from him throughout the games. And then also everybody knows Dallas Turner. He's an absolute monster up there on the front end, and his partner in crime, Chris Braswell, they've been absolutely tearing up some offensive lines recently. But all of this starts with the headed monster of it all, Kevin Steele. And I know, kind of going back to the other question you were asking about how fans were feeling at the start of the season, I think a lot of people had a lot of doubts about Kevin Steele, when I know, especially as I talked about me growing up as an Auburn fan, he had a brief little stint at Auburn from 2016 to 2020. He built some elite Auburn defenses during his time there. And I know that with the talent that Alabama is going to get in his defensive mind that he has, and also him working with Saban earlier or then early 2007 and 2008 years, I knew that he was going to bring something really special to the defense. And I think that was kind of lost over the past few years when we had Pete Golding from 2019 to 2022. And we were able, like I said, last year when we played Tennessee, giving up 5 touchdowns to 1 wide receiver. That was unlike anything you probably would have ever heard of under a Saban defense. And so now that we have Kevin Steele, I was really big fan of the hire. Some people may have had their doubts about it, but now he's leading one of the best defenses in the nation. I think they're elite enough to win us a championship this year. And like I said, some of the younger guys have really stepped up on defense, and even the veterans have been really in the defense. And another 2 people that I didn't even get to mention were Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold. I mean, both of those guys in the secondary, absolute lockdown. Kool-Aid's probably one of the best, if not top 5 cornerback in the entire country right now. So we have the talent on defense, the minds on defense to, like I said, really win us a championship.
He is. Kool-Aid is on the Thorpe semifinalist list. He's definitely shown out this season. I think he was really good last year. He did have sometimes where he kind of get beat, but I mean, that's when you play DB, that's what happens. I think a lot of people, like you said, were down on Kevin Steele. Kevin Steele is a great defensive mind. We didn't get to see it at LSU, but 1 year, because he got a chance to go back to Auburn to be with, I think his daughter was at Auburn at the time. So he got the chance to go back to be with her or be near her. But that opened the door for us to get around her. So, Thank you, Kevin Steele. With that being said, I think the biggest issue is the elephant in the room, pun intended. Tommy Rees and that offense. Yeah, Tommy Rees and the offense. Tommy Rees is not necessarily on anybody's hot list to win the Broyles Award. I don't think he's terrible, but I think he hasn't necessarily. He hasn't been what you guys have had the last few years. When you look at, Kiffin, Sark, even Bill O'Brien, which Bill O'Brien wasn't bad. I think he's just, he was Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the offense a little bit.
So I think the offense has, especially earlier this year, they were characterized by our inexperience up front, because if you're not able to get a push on up front, then your offense is going to fall apart from there. And I know we were starting some young guys. I know one that I can name off the top of my head is Caden Proctor off of
that's playing everybody's target. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I know there was a few times where the O-line, it seemed like Muro would snap the ball and he'd already be trying to like run for his life. And then also on the center end, there was a few times earlier this year, I know for sure against Texas and also Ole Miss, where I can specifically call this play against Ole Miss where we blocked a punt early in the game. We got it on the 1 yard line and we ended up having to kick a 40-yard field goal to end that drive. Like absolutely crazy. Nobody would have ever thought that would have happened, because I think Tommy Reeves early on, like calling plays on like short yardage situations where we wouldn't run a quarterback sneak. Miller would be in the shotgun. And then the snaps earlier this year, even going all the way back to opener and in Texas, Ole Miss game as well, like Milroe would be having to adjust to catch the ball, like whether it's low, high, off to the side. And if you can't get your rhythm down on your snap, that's going to throw off the entire play of the game, because that's a little more effort that the quarterback has to go into. Just catching the ball is going to be taken away from him trying to be able to read the defense or avoid a tackler or hand it off, pitch it, or anything like that. So it's small things that I think have been, how do I say this? Small things that can be easily fixed that I think have slowed down the offense. And I would say the play calling at first was a little rough as well, but I can kind of see that Reeves has starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm, especially during the second half of the Tennessee game. Like we were able to kind of blow off on the ball. Miller was able to have some more time, take deep shots. And I've loved the way we've been able to use Kendrick Law, him at being able to kind of more of like a, not scat back, but in more of a like taking jet sweeps, screens, like using him in like kind of short yardage situations, and also being able to use his speed to spread the field out like we've used with Isaiah Bond on deep shots. So I think Reeves is now truly learning how to use the talent around him to better the utilization and efficiency of the offense. And that's only something that you're going to be able to get done with time. And like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of the plays he was calling early on, especially in like the short yardage situations and like trying to stack the box, bring two tight ends on the field. I don't really think that loading the box and trying to like pound opponents is going to win football games, especially in this day and age. But like I said, Alabama has probably one of the talented rosters, the most talented roster in college football. And we just have to use our offensive skill players' skills to take advantage of what the defense is giving us.
Second best. We can argue that later.
Are you worried about Tommy Rees and Brian Kelly's familiarity with him?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say, and I read this in an article earlier as well about Brian Kelly. He was mentioning how, in this business, everybody kind of has run into everybody at some point in time. He mentioned how he worked with Tommy Rees, and he also mentioned him working with Georgia's old offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, earlier in both of their careers. And I wouldn't say I'm worried about it in a sense, because, like I said, everybody knows everybody. Somebody's going to have some upper hand on another team in one fashion, and vice versa goes for both teams. And I know Brian Kelly, he's going to be familiar with his play style and play calling, of course, but I think some of that is going to change just because, like, like we said, we have some of the two smartest minds in college football going head to head. So they're going to make sure that something's going to get switched up or something's going to be changed around in order to try to minimize the upper advantage that they have on one another. Whether that's Brian Kelly changing the defensive scheme to match Tommy Rees, or Tommy Rees changing around some things so Brian Kelly doesn't have a hand on it. So I think that, like I said, there's going to be some things that Kelly's going to recognize, but also I think Rees knows that Kelly's going to know some of his tendencies. So he may try to use that to his advantage and maybe running counter plays or kind of calling things that he normally wouldn't tend to call.
So we got a question in the chat from O'Danny Girl. Says the question is, as poorly as Proctor has performed, does that speak to the lack of typical depth that Bama at Bama, since there's no one behind him better to be an option?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say my best way to answer that is the coaches know what's best for the team, and even if there could possibly be a better person behind him on the depth chart, that even if guaranteed all the mistakes and the experience that Caden has brought at the start of the season, I think that the coaches recognize his potential and his upside that he has, and that this period of time is going to be beneficial for him, let's say next year or even 2 years down the line when he's a junior and a veteran on the roster. So I wouldn't say that it shows how bad our depth chart is, but like I said, I think coaches know what's best for the football team at the end of the day. And even if as badly as Caden has played in some plays, there have been some upsides and some glimpses of greatness that he has shown as well. So we can't just judge people based off of some of the small things and bad plays that they have, because like I said, that really just doesn't show the full picture of everything.
Yeah. Let me ask this. So your freshman year was the 2021 game that was there where it was supposed to, I think Bama was like a 20-point favorite. And
yeah, Ed
Orgeron's last year and Max Johnson came in his full glory and led LSU to a 7-point loss. With that being said, is there, I mean, and typically most games, Alabama truly does have home field advantage. Is there really a home field advantage in like this matchup for either team? Because even when Bama plays in Baton Rouge, the games are still close. But it seems like I guess the familiarity between the teams, that there's never really a true home field advantage. But I guess I can ask more from your perspective.
I would say there's definitely a home field advantage, especially in this game and rivalry. Well, really with any big rivalry games, both teams are going to bring their A game. So I wouldn't say the disparity on the scoreboard truly shows or minimizes the home field advantage that happens, because I know Tiger Stadium's probably Death Valley, as you guys like to call it, probably the best atmosphere in all of college football. And that was shown and evident in last year's game because, Alabama had a lot of penalties, and I think that probably could have ultimately costed them the game at the end of the day. But and then in Bryant-Denny Stadium, like again, another probably top 10 atmosphere in all of college football as well. And I think it really does get into the head of the opponent. And if it didn't, Nick Saban wouldn't have came out last week and said we need Bryant-Denny Stadium to be at its best during the Tennessee game, at the end of the day, the fans, they did come out, support it, and I think they truly helped alter the point of the game. So I wouldn't say that the scoreboard disparity truly shows or minimizes home field advantage at all, because at the end of the day, rivalry games are rivalry games for a reason, and fans are also going to come in, show out, and support their team regardless of what's going on. I mean, LSU could be winless and Alabama could be winless, but Tiger Stadium and Bryant-Denny Stadium are still going to be packed when they match up.
That's true. That's true. I can't fault that. I can't deny that one. Right now, Bama sits at number 8. With a win, this has to, I guess, catapult them more into the conversation of that 4. With what's remaining on Bama's schedule, I think this may be the last major test. I mean, of course, the Iron Bowl is the Iron Bowl. You can never count out Auburn. But this may be the last biggest test that Alabama has, or the biggest hurdle Alabama has to face before we get to that time.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of stake on the line for this game. I mean, both teams really, a loss for Alabama would probably it would eliminate them entirely from the college football playoff, I think. And without maybe a little bit of help, they could possibly still get to Atlanta. But even if with a loss here and a win over Georgia and Atlanta, I don't think they're putting in a 2-loss SEC champion over Georgia. And same goes for LSU. If LSU wins this game, runs the table, and ends up beating Georgia, I don't think that they put in a 2-loss LSU team over other contending programs who could be a 1-loss conference championship, undefeated conference championship. So I think that there is a lot of stake on the line here during this game. And I think it really just goes to show you how competitive the rivalry has been over the past few years. And especially really the last time it's been a win or go home situation. Well, last year technically was LSU could have still gotten in the playoff without that loss at the end of the year to Texas A&M. But other than that, this is probably a true win or complete elimination for both teams. So it's really going to be interesting to see, especially without complete chaos. I
want complete chaos. I don't know.
Without complete chaos, I don't think either one of these either the loser of this team will make it to the playoff at all. But like I said, that's what you want. That's how you really want rivalry games. You want to have a lot of stake on the line. You want it to be to where the winner takes all. So I think that both LSU and Alabama have set them up in both a good position to really run the table for themselves if they wanted to, and possibly get that spot in Atlanta where they'll probably face off against Georgia. And who knows, Georgia, they have a rough next couple of weeks headed up. They go to Tennessee, they have Missouri, and they also have another game. Who is it? Ole Miss. They're playing Ole Miss as well. So, who knows? Georgia may not even be guaranteed that spot in Atlanta just yet as well. So, like I said, college football, one thing that I really love about college football is that you won't really know how things are going to play out until they completely play out.
Yeah. I'm going to go away from, because Danny has another good question. I'm going to go away from this game for a second, but just talk about the future. We know Texas and Oklahoma are coming. And she says, Mr. Kelly, do you want to keep LSU as a permanent opponent after the conference changes?
That's another good question. I know Nick Saban came out earlier today and talked about this, but I think and I'm not completely sure off the top of my head how the conference alignment will work, but I would love to have Auburn and LSU be, if that's possible, to have those two be the two permanent rivalry games. And I know we're
over Tennessee.
May miss out on. Say that again.
I said over Tennessee.
I was just about to get to that. I know we're gonna miss out on playing Tennessee every year and everything, but I think that LSU, especially over the past 10, 12 years, LSU's been more competitive than Tennessee. And no hate to Tennessee, but I've only seen Tennessee win 2 or 3 times throughout my childhood in this game. So, it's just I grew up watching especially 8:00 primetime with Gary Danielson coming on CBS. I grew up watching the two juggernauts, Alabama and LSU. And yeah, I know you shook your head when I said Gary Danielson. A lot of people do, but like I said, when I was a kid, I grew up watching Alabama and LSU being the two juggernauts. And then me being an Auburn fan in the Iron Bowl, probably one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football and maybe even all of the country in total too. So I would love to see LSU continue to be our permanent rival, as well as Auburn, if that's possible to have two rivals. And if I had to pick between the two, oh my goodness. I would probably have to say the Iron Bowl. I think, especially for the state of Alabama, that's a game you can't take away from Alabama and Auburn fans. It's just something that you can't take away from the state. So if it has to be one, then Auburn. But if possible to, I definitely want to see us continue the rivalry with LSU for sure.
All right. I ain't know Ant was in. Ant, if you Krim says I'm calling Missouri playing for the. He said he's calling it Missouri's playing for the East.
Okay.
I've been saying that. I've been saying.
I
that.
think last year Missouri was one goal line stand away from beating Georgia. And I think Georgia's team was way better last year than they were this
Missouri
year.
was a first down away from even giving Georgia a chance in that game.
That's true. But the only problem is I don't know if Missouri's going to be able to travel into Athens and get the job done. Georgia's been a really good team over the past few years. And one thing that they don't do is I don't think they've lost at home since 2019 maybe against South Carolina. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they haven't. Georgia hasn't lost at home in a long time. And I think it's going to be really hard for Missouri to go in and get it done. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they do. I think that would be my take on it for sure. Because Georgia, they haven't really shown me too much. Like Auburn was really one catch away from winning that game. And Auburn hasn't been too much of a conference contender over the past few years. That's the best way I could put it. So they also struggled. There was another team they struggled against. Who was it? They struggled against Vanderbilt early on before they pulled away late in the end.
Yeah.
So I don't think Georgia is the juggernaut they have been the past few years. And of course, with Brock Bowers being hurt, like they did show that they were able to still dominate Florida without him. But again, he's a really big, significant part of their offense because he's probably the best tight end in all of college football right now. So, like I said, I think it'll be a good game, but I don't know if Missouri will be able to get it done.
Georgia can't afford a slow start in this game because Missouri is going to be able to put up points. They're gonna have to come out.
Don't go too far, Ant, because we got to talk about the game too. I don't want to go too far. I won't go too far on that one. I do want to say this though. I want to go ahead and get to it. Let's talk about it. The spread right now for this game is 3. The total is 60.5. The money line is plus 135 for LSU, minus 162 for Alabama. I've seen and heard several people break this down. I've heard Alabama in a landslide. So my question, Mr. Kelly, and I'll let you go first, being the guest. How do you see this game playing out?
So I think this is what Alabama has to do to get the win on Saturday. They have to win the turnover battle. They have to play disciplined football, and they have to win the trenches. I think if Alabama can check off those 3 boxes, then they'll get the win. But how I see it playing out, I think LSU is going to get off to a fast start. Typically, Nick Saban has always struggled with a really talented dual threat quarterback, and that's what LSU has in Jaden Daniels, Heisman candidate. And I think LSU is going to get off to a fast start. But I kind of see this game kind of playing out the same way Tennessee does. I don't think Alabama is going to be able to dominate the second half like they did against Tennessee. But I think that Milroe, he's going to get settled in. He'll make a few plays against LSU's defense. And really, the playmakers are just going to have to show up for Alabama for them to win this game. But for my score prediction, I think Alabama's going to get the win 34 to 24.
Okay. And you want to go, or you want me to?
34 to 24. Okay. I feel like LSU's defense is improving. They're starting with their second half versus Mizzou, and I know we haven't seen them in the last 2 games face the level of competition that they'll be facing versus Alabama. But I do think with the strides they've made plus the bye week, I think that they'll be improved as a unit. And I think that LSU's offense is going to be hard for Alabama to stop. They're the best offense that they've faced all year. But I think Alabama finds a way to keep it close. I think special teams is going to be huge in this game. Whoever can have that big punt return or block kick, miss kick, something along those kind of lines. LSU in a close one, 34-32.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. That's actually good. Dylan, you want to tell your predictions for the LSU Alabama game? All right, because he can't actually told me early his score predictions. All right.
What's your score?
You got to pick one of the scores. You can't tell two different score predictions.
My two different score predictions are 49, 47.
49, 47.
Wow.
LSU.
Okay. Shootout. Okay.
All right. What's the other one?
39, 38 LSU.
Okay.
Close games.
All right. This is it's a strength on strength, weakness on weakness type matchup because we got two of the high one of the hottest offenses, or the hottest offense in the SEC.
The hottest offense, yeah.
Versus one of the best defenses in the SEC. Then you've got a struggling offense. I'll say I'm not gonna say struggling. An offense that's finding its identity versus a defense that's also finding its identity. With that said, he didn't get it. With that said, I think that it's going to come down to who can put points on the board. With LSU defense struggles and all, I think that LSU offense is still going to be able to put up more points than Alabama's offense. I see this one as a close one as well. I see this not necessarily as close as last year was a 1-point win, but I still see this one hitting the over of 60. So I see this can be like I can see this like 35-31 LSU. So
I think the big thing, especially with, and I kind of talked about like the three main points, but I think LSU, they have the potential to put up a lot of points, but if Alabama isn't disciplined, they'll put up even more. And the past, especially last year, both the losses to LSU and Tennessee, like Alabama gave up 130 yards and penalties against Tennessee, 92 against LSU. That's two whole football fields of penalties in 2 games. So like I said, if they don't play disciplined at all, and if you're seeing pre-snap penalty after pre-snap penalty, PI after PI, face mask, like it could get probably ugly for Alabama very fast for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, look, Ken. Somebody said it here, and we kind of talked about it. Sean said Kenneth Kelly is an awesome guest with a bright future. Absolutely love this young man. You wrote that check already to him, Kenneth?
I didn't.
Make sure you get him paid.
No, I did not.
But man, listen, when I saw your work last year, I was like, man, I can't wait to have him on, talk to him. I hate it took this long, and it's funny because I forgot about it. And then I was scrolling through the messages. I was like, oh, I got to hit this guy up. So happy to have you on. Definitely before we go, we like to let our guests, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle should be KennethKelly.2. And on Twitter, Kenneth Kelly II. So those are both my Instagram and Twitter handles. Be sure to follow me. You can keep up with all my work that I'm doing. I regularly post and tweet out different type of reporting work that I'm doing on campus, and even when I'm traveling, doing work off campus as well. So like I said, those are where you can follow me. Again, I really appreciated my time joining the Golden Boot, and I hope we can definitely stay in touch and roll Tide.
All right, we're gonna have to get you up off field. You said that.
Oh man, but no, the second time now, man. The second time. One more, and you gotta go.
But no,
true. But before I go, there is one more side of the perspective of the game that I do kind of want to point out.
Okay.
So one thing that I know history could really be on LSU's side, and because coming into the game, they were ranked number 1 scoring offense, 47 points per game, number 1 in total offense, 550 total yards a game, number 3 in passing offense. So LSU has an absolutely loaded offense, which you guys had already known. But the last time LSU had put up those numbers, because you guys could probably guess what year that was, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
2019 Joe Burrow, which is probably one of the greatest games of the century. But what's really special about during that LSU team that was led by Joe Burrow, who came in, upset Alabama, and ended up going to run the table to win the national championship. But during that time, I know I talked about Kevin Steele earlier, but that year LSU played Auburn in Death Valley, and that was the closest game that LSU had that whole year. And Auburn was able to hold LSU to only 23 points. And LSU still ended up getting the win 23-20 at the end of the day, which Auburn's offense was a little shaky. They had Bo Nix as a freshman starting at quarterback and everything. But basically, LSU, they had the highest rated offense, averaging almost 50 points a game. And Kevin Steele devised the plan, and he ended up holding them to 23 points during that whole game. So I just wanted to kind of point that out because, that's just kind of a different area that some people really do forget about that game that happened in 2019. And with Kevin Steele being on the Bama coaching staff now, I think it's going to be a head-to-head matchup, and it's really going to be who can out-scheme who at the end of the day, for sure. But that's just another different perspective of the game that I kind of wanted to share and bring to the table.
Now,
that's a hell of a point, young
man. Come in with the history facts to scare us. I like it. But I want to throw in there, I don't see a chance of rain Saturday in Death Valley because it was raining that game in Tuscaloosa. It was raining that game in Death Valley, and we had a muff punt because wet hands. So, but no, seriously, I do think it'll be a great game. And Kevin Steele, I think is Kevin Steele's and Venables were the two defensive coordinators that devised the best plans to slow LSU down that year. I think Kevin Steele will also probably do something similar to slow it down, having that extra week. But I got it right. I still think.
I understand for sure. It'll definitely be a game to tune in and watch, and I'm excited to see how it'll play out.
No doubt.
Yes, all right. Well, Ken, we'll be in touch. We definitely gonna do this again. We'll figure out something. We'll find a game, basketball,
right
baseball, or something. We'll figure it out.
We'll be sure to keep in contact for sure. I really enjoyed coming on y'all's platform and talking ball with you all. And like I said, I'll be sure that we definitely stay in touch for sure.
No doubt, bro.
All right. Appreciate
you. Keep up the good work, man.
Of course. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our good man, Mr. Kenneth Kelly II. Hold on, let me get him his hand claps. He got a very bright future. If y'all ever get a chance, if you find him on Twitter, he's got a lot of great interviews. He interviewed DJ Chester when he was after he had signed with LSU. So really good stuff there. But man, let's talk. We got some more games, and I had to hold this one off. The Georgia-Missouri game, man.
Yep.
Definitely got to talk about it. I know we started talking about it a little bit. Georgia looked good, really good last week without Bowers. But this is going to be the best offense that Georgia has faced. This will be the best offense that Georgia has faced. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Yeah, but it also going to be
the best
defense that Missouri has faced.
That is true.
So I think it's going to be, like you talked about with LSU Bama, I think it's going to be strength, weakness type situation. But I think that Georgia going to have to come off to a fast start because they can't afford a slow start versus Missouri's offense. I don't know if Georgia – we hadn't seen Georgia have to play from behind yet. So if they do get down 10 points, what does their offense look like? And are they still able to be productive offensively when they know they got to score?
That's a good question. Rick Kelly said Mike Scarborough told us to come check your show out. Hey, listen, first of all, Scarborough is a class act. I truly appreciate him when he came on and gave us excellent advice. Very glad he's recommend you here, and I hope you enjoy it, man. Now, with that being said, I said before,
still taking Mizzou.
I said, Krim said it. But let's talk about this. The spread is 15.5. Total is 54.5. Money lines plus 500 for Mizzou, minus 720 for Georgia. I'm taking the 15 Missouri plus the 15.5. I'm taking the over 54.5. Because even if Missouri scores 20 points, Georgia can score the rest if it comes down to that. I would even put a little money on the plus 5, sprinkle a little bit on that plus 500, because I mean it's plus 500.
Why not? Yeah.
So
plus 5, yeah.
And it's not like they're
I'm
far
taking
off.
the 15 for sure.
Yeah, I don't see I can't see Georgia beating them by that much. Just simply because although Georgia does have a really good defense, Missouri can stretch the field on them. And I think that's what's going to ultimately keep this game close. With that said, man, I still think Georgia wins it. But I think it's close. Too. I think it's close. Rick asked, and we're going to move, before we move on, Rick asked this question. Who is the best G5 team, Air Force, Tulane, or James Madison? So I'll say this. I think James Madison is the best team in G5 right now. They're the hottest team. But I said beginning of the year, Tulane. I think Tulane goes back-to-back New Year's Six bowls. I don't see anybody tripping them up again. And their only loss is to Ole Miss.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. James Madison might be the best, but they can't make a bowl.
Yeah.
Tulane, they only have one loss, but they've been in a lot of close games and they've squeaked out a few. Mm-hmm. Air Force and the offense they run is just so hard to defend that I think they give the people the biggest matchup problems.
Yeah.
Well, I might go with Air Force, man.
Okay. Danny said Air Force being disrespected. Air Force is undefeated.
They are in a sense.
I'll say this. Air Force don't do no work in real life. So I'm not picking Air Force.
I ain't got nothing to do with all that.
Oh my goodness. I ain't mean to put that up. Dave, why you talk about that? But yeah, no, seriously though, Air Force is good. They've looked really good. From what I've seen, Tulane has faced more of a challenge this year.
That's fair.
James Madison is good, but they have. I'm gonna be real with you. I thought Tulane was about to win that game with their backup until it got crazy at the end. But anyway, all right. Next up, man, Texas A&M versus number 10 Ole Miss. The spread is 3. Money line 54 plus 125 for Texas A&M, minus 150 for Ole Miss. This might be the only time I ever chill for Texas A&M.
Yeah, it kind of got to, huh?
Yeah. LSU fans alike are going to be throwing up, cheering for the Yale leaders. So,
yeah, I don't know if I can do it, but I hope they tie.
As Daddy said about the ASVAB. I'll have you know my ASVAB score was very high. I just didn't. I actually like working for a living. I didn't want to. Did he miss it? Oh. Anyway, next up, man. The rest of these games in the SEC are just terrible. You got UConn versus number 17 Tennessee. The spread is 35.5. The total is 55. Actually, we ain't even talk. I'm sorry, I skipped all over this. Back to this Texas A&M game. What you taking? You on mute, Ant, if you're talking.
My bad, bro. I didn't even realize I was muted.
Yeah. Yep. We got but you hear spread 354 total, 1 plus 125 / minus 150.
Yeah, I guess I'll take Ole Miss -3.
I'm taking the over. That's probably the only thing I'll take on this one. Dave asked what I was watching. Ball State versus Bowling Green. Bowling Green just won them basically by 3. So and Krim says, I ain't gonna lie, I'm pulling for A&M. If you're an LSU fan, you have to pull. You have to pull for A&M right now, at least in this game. They can lose every other game, but next up, man, this back to this one. This UConn Tennessee game. Like I said, spread 35.5, total 55. Money line is plus 7,000, well 71.73 for UConn and minus 100,000 for Tennessee.
Man, stop it.
I'm not touching any parts of this. The 35.5. Can Tennessee score? Yeah. I just don't. I'm not buying it.
I ain't touching nothing in this game.
Yeah, Tennessee, it's a letdown game. I'm staying away from it. Completely staying away.
Me too.
All right. Next up, man, we got Arkansas versus Florida. This might be actually a decent matchup.
Give me Florida.
Yeah, it's a spread is 6, total is 50.5. Money line plus 190 for Arkansas, minus 235. I think that's what that was supposed to be. Hold on, let me fix this. It's minus 235 for Florida.
Yeah, I'm taking Florida in this one. Arkansas's offense has been terrible.
I'm taking I want to say I'm taking the under, but Arkansas finds the way to.
Arkansas scored 3 points last game.
That's true. I'm taking the under. I'll take the under. Yeah, but they've had 2 weeks to get ready for this game too.
And they fired their offensive coordinator. So I mean, like,
yeah, that's true.
You expect them to?
That's true. Yeah, I'll take the under, but the nightmare for Arkansas fans continue. Yeah. So next up,
can't be over with quick enough for them.
Yeah. Next up, we got Jacksonville State versus South Carolina. Spread is 15.5, which is laughable. The total is 55, plus 500 money line for Jacksonville, minus 720 for South Carolina. Jacksonville actually does have a chance. I'm taking Jacksonville plus 15.5. I think South Carolina wins. South Carolina wins, but Jacksonville does have a chance in this one. South Carolina has looked bad. Next up, Auburn versus Vandy. Auburn fresh off the win over Mississippi State last week. The spread is 12.5. The total is 49.5, minus 530 for Auburn, plus 390 for Vanderbilt. Give me Auburn and the points, and I would probably even lean the under. You on mute, Ant. Ant, oh, there you go.
Yeah, my bad. 12.5. I think that still might be enough. I don't really trust Vandy. 12.5 is a lot though for Auburn's offense. I might stay away from everything in this one, bro.
I will. I can lean Auburn on this one. Even though this is in Vandy, this is in Nashville. That's a home game.
Yeah, I know that. The way that.
Yeah, the way Auburn fans. I mean, Vandy. Yeah, that's a home game. Next up, we got Kentucky versus Mississippi State. The spread is 3.5. The total is 46. Minus 185 for Kentucky, plus 150 for Mississippi State. Give me Kentucky and the points. Give me the over. I think this can be it's at 46, so I can see this being like a 31-17 game. You on mute now, Ant. You back, but you on mute.
Yeah, I'm back. Give me Kentucky. Yeah, Mississippi State terrible. Give me Kentucky.
Yeah,
3.5 might not even be enough.
It's not. Yeah. Like I said, I'm saying it's 31-17.
Yeah.
So
see, that's if Mississippi State can score 17.
Next up, man, we move to the Big 12. You got number 23, Kansas State taking on number 7 Texas. What you looking at? It's what's this? The spread is 4. Total is 49.5. Money line plus 164 for Kansas State, minus 200 for Texas. Quentin Ewers is still out.
Yeah,
I'll take Kansas State in the points. I'm not. I wouldn't. I honestly don't trust Kansas State, but I would take them in the points right now.
What about the over/under?
Over.
I kind of lean the under.
Ooh, I'm thinking over.
You trust Malik Murphy and
I trust Kansas State to score points. I just don't think they'll win.
Little quarterback name?
I don't know, but I think they'll score points. I just don't know if they can win. So
Jackson Howard or something like that. Ain't that his name?
No clue. No clue. Now this one. This will be the last Battle of Bedlam for as Big 12 opponents. You got number 9 Oklahoma taking on number 22 Oklahoma State.
Man, it's crazy. Oklahoma State got blew out by South Alabama, and they still got a chance to win the Big 12.
Yeah, the spread in this one is 6. The total is 61.5. Money line minus 230 for Oklahoma, plus 190 for Oklahoma State, and this is in Stillwater.
Over.
Give me the over. I'm with you on that one.
That's about all I think. I can see Oklahoma coming out after that loss, bouncing back with a kind of a two possession win, or I could see Oklahoma skidding after that loss and continuing to fall, and Oklahoma State with an upset win. So I can see it going both ways. So I'm gonna just take the over.
We saw last year, Venables and Oklahoma. They suffered their first loss and it went downhill from there. I think this is I think Oklahoma State pulls this off. I'm taking Oklahoma State in the points. And yeah, I lean over as well. So next we got number 5 Washington versus number 20 USC. The spread is 3. Total is 76.5. The money line is minus 155 for Washington, plus 130 for USC. First thing first, I'm taking the under. I think Washington's defense is good enough to slow down USC, and I think Michael Penix will be in a game with enough pressure that he doesn't perform as well. So I'm taking the under, and I would lean Washington money line on this one.
I hope for the LSU's sake that USC wins this game. I'm rooting for chaos. I don't trust USC's defense though, so give me Washington money line.
Yeah.
Even though Washington ain't
definitely
been the best.
Thank you. The last couple of weeks, Washington could make this a close game. Yes, I agree. That's why I say, yeah, I think this is enough pressure that Penix screws it up. So, so that's all the games that we had with the saying spreads and stuff. Other notable games, because this weekend is actually outside of maybe one or two. This weekend is pretty terrible. Thursday night, you've got TCU, Texas Tech, South Alabama versus Troy, battle for the belt. North Carolina. Notre Dame is going to Clemson, take on Clemson. Clemson is about to be under 500 this late in the season for the first time in I don't know how long.
That's what Dabo going off on people.
Say what?
That's why Dabo going off on people.
Yeah. Tyler from Spartanburg. Hey, question. How do you feel like he handled that situation?
I mean, I understand what he was saying, but I feel like it was kind of a little too far. You know what I mean? But
yeah, it was a 5-minute response.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he kind of dug in a little too deep into the man pause. But I understand where he was coming from whenever he said, about the expectations and, you know what I mean? Like, this the first bad season that they really been this bad. You know what I mean? Like, so,
yeah.
Like, you could – I understand what, what I'm saying, the frustration on his part. I just felt like he took it too far.
Yeah, I understand that. And I agree with you. Oh yeah, King. What's up, King? King of South Cobb. I think he's a little bit behind. He was talking about the Auburn also had 2 draft picks on the interior of their D line. That's true too. That's true. Trying to see what other notable games we have.
Penn State, Maryland.
That might be a fun game to watch. I don't know if that's necessarily. Oh,
UCLA,
we got
Arizona.
another. UCLA, Arizona is going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game. The part 2 of the Commanders Cup. Speaking to Danny Girl,
okay.
Army versus Air Force. I'll say this. Let me hold up. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Whatever the over under is, take it. Let me look and see what it is too. So, but yeah, whatever the over under is in that game, take it. Yeah, take the under. Let me see what is the total in that game. But Air Force definitely gonna win that one unless Army finds some kind of miracle. Army's gonna win it and take the Commanders Cup. Oh, the total is 31.5 right now. Take the under. I'm still with the take the under. They had I think the over under for the Air Force Navy game was like 35. The total at the end of the game was 26, if I'm not mistaken. It was like 17-9.
Okay.
So definitely take that. Yeah. Let's see what else. Football. We got any other good games?
Oregon State, Colorado.
Oregon State, Colorado is going to be an interesting game. Where is that one at? That's at Oregon State or is this in Colorado? It's at Colorado. Yeah, definitely. Dan said, "Did you throw up in your mouth to say that?" Nah. It's in Colorado. Give me Oregon State and also give me security at the locker rooms.
Boy. Oh man, hey, I got a sleeper for you.
Okay, because they might be the same sleeper I'm looking.
Ohio State travels to Rutgers.
Oh, I was not looking at that. That's not
Greg Schiano is gonna give Ohio State a game. I ain't saying they're gonna win, but they're gonna give Ohio State a game.
I have a sleeper. Stanford, Washington State.
That's two struggling teams.
2-6, 4 versus 4-4. Both got some big wins on their resume.
Yeah.
Or I say big win. Stanford's it was a big win
upsets.
because of the comeback.
They got some upsets. Yeah.
No, it was a big win because of the comeback. How much they were down 29. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Another one, Miami versus North Carolina State. That might actually be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And your wish might not come true.
I know I see it.
Let's talk, a little bit of World Series real quick. Just to
it wasn't much of a
before
World
we do
Series.
Where is it? Rick Kelly had a question. There you go. Did you see that the LHSAA has invalidated 30 wins for JT Curtis at John Curtis?
Yeah, well, you know what that means? That means he does no longer. With his next win, he would have become the all-time winningest high school coach in U.S. football history, high school football history.
Wow.
But now he will no longer obviously be taking that record as they have invalidated 30 wins. A lot of people still going to consider him the all-time winningest coach.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nick Thomas brings up a good point about Colorado. Says he's interested to see if Colorado's O-line is interested in trying anymore.
Good point.
That's a good point. But here we go, man. Let's talk about this World Series real quick. We got Texas is up 1-0 in the top of the 8th. Now it's 2 outs, but bases are loaded. So
it's over with.
Definitely, yeah. It's if they find a way to win this, the series is over. Oh, if you did take it, Texas. So it was a couple bets that I missed out on one. But it was Texas to win game 1 and the World Series. I forget what that plus. I mean, it was plus something. Also Texas to win 4-1 was like plus 600 or plus 700. That can easily cash, especially if they get a hit or a walk here, and go up 2. That might get interesting. But here we go. Anything else, man, before we get ready to get up out of here? So we can we're gonna call Xfinity on 3-way. Cuss them out.
Big fat. Rest in peace to the legend, Bob Knight.
Yeah.
Greatest basketball. Well, he ain't the greatest. John Wooden is one of the greatest.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be missed. He had some good times as a coach. He had some controversy surrounding him, but one thing you can't say about him, he didn't give his all. So definitely rest in peace to Bob Knight. I got a question for you. Did you see about Calipari? Somebody wrote an article up on him, and basically was kind of very disparaging, saying that they just hit into it's going to the bottom of the 8th, 1-0. But did you see somebody wrote an article about Calipari? Basically saying that he has been, for lack of better words, he's been mid, he's been basic since like 2020 or 2019, something like that.
Ain't no lies in that. The problem is the SEC got tougher.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl, Rick Barnes, Nate Oates,
Will Wade.
Musselman. Yep. I mean, coaches came in and thing.
Yeah. Will Wade made it tough on him. I'm joking, but I think if I'm not mistaken, Will Wade got 2 wins over him.
Well, it ain't just that in the recruiting. You know what I mean? Got
That too.
some recruiting battles over him. Then you look at Musselman won some recruiting battles over him. Nate Oates, Bruce Pearl. I mean, not only was it harder to win on the court, it was harder to out talent everybody in recruiting. So I mean, and then plus whenever Duke started going after the one and dones, that really killed it for Coach Cal. So
has the I don't know if I say the parody, but yeah, I get it. I get it. What else we got before we get up out of here? Trying to think what else. There was something else we were supposed to talk about. Another sport. Men's basketball comes back on the 6th.
Women's basketball had a scrimmage tonight.
They did play tonight. I didn't even see anything on it. NBA.
Pels won.
Okay. I know what it was. Josh McDaniels got fired.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. Couldn't have happened to a better person. Yeah, Dave, we talked about that on Sunday. About that Fury fight. We talked about that at length on Sunday. Wemby and San Antonio with the comeback last night on Phoenix.
Yeah, man, that boy gonna be a problem.
He is. Pels came back from down 22 early. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's
and
right,
Nick
Pierce. What up, Pierce?
Yeah. Pierre, man. It's Pierre. No, I'm just playing. What's good, Pierce? Nick said in the OC and the GM, which is funny.
House.
They fired all those people, and the Giants are still a 3-point underdog in that game. Man, what does that say about the Giants?
Well, they ain't got no quarterback right now, do they? The Giants.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor is hurt. And Waller's hurt. Yikes. We ain't talk much on the NFL.
Saquon in the wild card out game.
Yeah. We ain't talk NFL. I know we were supposed to, but we got caught up. Saints welcoming in the Chicago Bears this weekend.
Man, if they don't beat the Bears, it's over with.
If they don't beat them convincingly, that's what has to happen.
Man, they starting a D2 quarterback. If we don't beat their ass, it's a problem.
Buffalo is going to Cincinnati. This will be the
Cincy should get this one pretty easily.
They should. I think Cincy should. Cincy getting hot. I told y'all it was going to happen. They getting hot. But this is the what I'm saying, DeMar Hamlin and Tyler Boyd said they kind of got together and stuff prior to this.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah. You gotta think it was around this time and last year. So what that game was in Cincy last year too, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Miami and Kansas City.
Yep.
It's
the Tyreek Hill revenge game.
Yeah. That's Sunday morning because that's in Germany, Frankfurt. Did you hear about that? Tyreek Hill said he didn't want to he never planned on leaving the Chiefs, but said his agent basically was just kind of trying to get more money from the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were going to, and the Chiefs were ready to pay him, but then everybody else came up and offered him more.
That's crazy. So,
yeah. Danny asked, did we see anything about yesterday about the possible trade deal for Winston?
Yeah, I don't know how much truth was in that.
I blame you, man. You put this in the atmosphere. It's smart though, but all right. Bottom of the 8, 2 outs. They got Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big pickup for them. That's smart.
Because even if like he stays,
Yeah.
Dave said he saw that we almost traded for Renfro. Please don't.
That is true though.
Oh my god, I know I saw that too, but still, jeez.
They just trying to get Derek Carr a friend, somebody to like him in the locker room.
I don't know how much Renfro like him.
Renfro just won out of Vegas right now.
Yeah. That was a hit.
They finna bench Jimmy G too.
Man, we got anything else, man, before we get up out of here? Because it's
Nah, that's all I got, bro.
Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday, man. I ain't got nothing else, man. We'll be back on Sunday. Talk more about. We'll recap the game, this LSU victory, and go from there, man. I don't know what else. What else to say?
Nick crazy, man. I hope my internet gets better.
He said when Nick with Ant's new connection. Yeah, we'll have to get him hooked up. Yeah. We'll be back celebrating the win. Danny said, hopefully. We will. Have faith. Bring on the chaos. We'll see y'all on Sunday, man. Like that, we out.
This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!